What's going on? This is Coach Konopka from Strength and Honor Training here again for episode number 2 of our Power Talk with Chris Janek from Tank's Training Facility.
What's up, guys?
We kind of just used Power Talk. That may not be our permanent name, but for right now, it gets the job done. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we did our first Q&A. We had some awesome questions, a lot of feedback. I got a lot of DMs and stuff, people thinking about our show and the info that was on there. So that's awesome. That's why we're doing this, to try to help as many athletes as we can, coaches, parents, all the above, man. And how about you? Get any feedback there, Chris?
Yeah, I put a couple things on the story, and I got a few questions. I imagine a couple of them didn't say if they're wrestlers, but I imagine we're asking wrestlers. The first question I saw that kind of hit me, which I not only hit home to every client, but I think wrestling is even bigger. I've been talking to a lot of the wrestlers I'm training now as a team and individuals. The question was, how much, as a wrestler, how much protein should I take, protein intake? So for me, just through the NSDA, I think we might have talked about this last time. The old was 1.8 per kilogram, up to 2.8 if you're in a carb deficit, which you still need carbs as a wrestler, 100%. Don't take them out completely. That's your energy source, one of your main energy sources. So the clinic I did, they're now saying up to 3.1 per kilogram per body weight, which is a lot. I don't know if you need that much. I think there needs to be a little more studies on it, but I'd say the minimum would be
that's per kilogram, you said, right?
Per kilogram, not body weight. Correct. So you got to take body weight.
What is it? 2.2 pounds per kilogram?
Correct. Yep. So I think most could get by with that 1.8 to 2.1, but I think more up to that 2.1 to 2.8 is good. Especially if that's showing now that 3.1, and they're even showing in the bodybuilding community up to 4.1. So I think it's huge. We break that actin myofibril up while we lift. You cannot repair it without those amino acids found in the protein. So I think that's huge. The proper intake, and I'm sure you talk to your athletes too. Most, I don't know the percentage, most aren't close to that. They're very, very much under. So I think just we need to keep pushing, telling people to up their protein and get that at least that 1.8 to 2.8 per kilogram of their body weight.
I'm with you on that one. Even that brings us to like about 1.5 per pound, once you divide that out. And I'm a big fan of the, I say 0.8, but I really like 1 to 2 grams per pound of body weight, especially for athletes. I like a good chunk of it post practice, post workout, and in the mornings as well. First thing, you're breaking that fast. Fasting, in my opinion, for athletes is terrible. For the adults trying to lose weight, trying to lower their cardiovascular risks or diabetes and all that, that's a whole nother topic. But for athletes, they need fuel, especially in the morning, especially protein. Water and protein, break that fast, get that amino acids into the muscles, because all night you're fasting, your body's just eating away those muscles. So I think that's important. One of the things that we got a bunch of questions on protein. One of them was plant-based proteins as well. Someone asked. I personally, I'm against plant-based proteins. Not so much against it as I would prefer a whole food source, obviously, like a red meat, a chicken, eggs, and secondary, like a whey powder. I love grass-fed whey isolate. I think those are, because they're a complete amino acid, right?
Yeah.
All plant-based. There's no plant, to my knowledge, that is a complete protein amino acid profile. That's why a lot of the plant proteins have multiple sources of protein in them. And it's just my personal opinion. I do notice, I did try plant-based protein, for about 3 weeks. and I'm telling you, I feel a little different using it instead of whey. Now I was still eating my, my red meat and chicken and eggs, but
Yeah.
post workout and first thing in the morning, I always have a coffee with protein in the morning.
Yeah.
A workout, and I noticed the difference, and I'm pretty in tune. I do blood work twice a year, so I'm pretty in tune with it. And just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for others. But my full recommendation is always whey, unless there's actually some intolerance or something like that.
Yeah, the vegan, the vegetarian, the plant-based, I think it could be done. Well, they say it could be done, but it's very, very difficult to get that combination to even come close to the carnivores, the food. And I agree. I've never recommended it to anyone. Now, my sister's a vegetarian. Somehow she does it, but I think through the way I split and the meats and stuff like that is a way easier and way protein. So, and it's funny you say the coffee with the protein in the morning. I can't drink warm coffee. I drink cold brew instead, and I add my whey isolate 30 grams right there. Mix
Yeah.
it up, boom. But I eat oatmeal before I you have to eat in the morning. Huge. My son, because I live with him, I'm constantly on his butt. Eat some breakfast. Eat some breakfast. Eat. You got to eat right away. Uh, I've never recommended the fast either. I know a couple of coaches that have tried it, along with just being miserable. It's a quick fix, but
Yeah.
never recommended it either. So
Yeah. Some of the adults I work with, they do well with it. They cut off their eating at like 6, and then they don't eat again till noon. All right.
yeah,
So it works for adults. It's also a different, those aren't performance-based athletes. They're not performance training. All right. So it's a little different.
yeah,
I think that first thing in the morning, that breakfast for athletes is huge. Gives them the fuel, not only for recovery to start their day as well, but to get the nutrients so they can concentrate in school. They
yeah,
need that. They need the energy, the glucose. They need it all to be able to not just recover. Like I said, when you're starving, it's impossible to
yeah.
focus. At least for me, it is. It's a bad day. So,
The brain function. You're right. Just to function, you need that definitely.
right. So yeah, protein. I'm a fan like you. That I think athletes, so a 150-pound athlete, you got to get a minimum of 150 grams. In my opinion, wrestlers, especially when they're cutting weight, they're taking it away from carbs and fats. Yeah, I think the important part at there as they're reducing because they're on a calorie deficit, that they should
Yep.
be increasing that protein intake. So that's how they're going to recover. That's how they're going to maintain some strength. Um, I like collagen as well for athletes.
Love collagen.
Yeah,
Yes, it's fun to say that.
yeah. I think the main source, is, it's not like we're pushing supplements, but a whey isolate, a grass-fed whey, the convenience and the ease of use is it's just big, especially for, high schoolers. They sleep in. Some parents are away from work. They can't sit there and cook their kids 5 eggs before they go to school. But anyone can take a shaker cup, shake it, put it in the fridge the night before, wake up, grab that, maybe an apple or a banana if you're, really watching your calories, and then head to school, but you're getting that in. But
Yep.
I like the idea of adding a collagen post workout with the regular whey, just for help of like ligaments and stuff like that, you know.
Dude, I was, me, meathead for life. I was to the point of almost going to the doctor. My shoulder was just throbbing. I knew something was wrong. And someone recommended, this is about 6 months ago, collagen peptides. I got it at Sam's Club. You guys, I think you have Sam's Club or Costco, whatever you've out there.
Yeah.
Uh, and I started taking double the dose. I weigh about 289 right now. And I'm talking within a week or two, dissipated, and it hasn't bothered me at all. And I'm not changed my training at all. And I know sometimes that's for hair, nails, and skin, which
Right.
whatever. But
Yeah.
for my ligaments and I get inflammation or whatever I got going on, it's gone. So
Yeah.
that is a big believer.
Yeah, it helps with the inflammation and ligaments and tendons and stuff. So it helps. Now it's not a cure-all, but with consistency of everything else, it definitely is a proven um, contributor to getting rid of some inflammation and helping the joints as well. But so that's cool that you firsthand have seen that difference.
Yeah, big.
Nice. Yeah, one of the other questions was I got was about protein bars. Um, and this is a tricky slope, man, because a lot of them, if you read the ingredients and if you read the label, like added sugars in there, you're basically just eating a Snickers bar. You
Yeah.
know, and people, it's kind of messed up because they see the big blast on there, 20 grams of protein, 30 grams of protein. Some of them do use, whey protein. Usually it's a mix of some type of milk or casein and not the highest quality proteins, which kind of stinks, but you're basically eating a glorified candy bar, and some of them are worse than candy bars. They'll have like 30 grams of added sugar. No wonder
Yeah.
why. Yeah, they think they're eating healthy, and they're like,
No.
"This tastes amazing." Well, yeah, because you just took 4 spoonfuls of sugar
Yep.
So there's a few out there. I like the Perfect Bar. That is a plant-based bar. That's got 16 grams of protein, but it's got a lot of good nutrients in it. The RX bar, those are really good bars with like 3 or 4 ingredients. I think their protein is like egg whites, peanuts, dates. And that's a little bit lower calorie. Those are my 2 go-to bars for protein bars. But there's a lot out there. I'm sure you've seen them all. They're just a lot of them are candy bars, man.
Yeah, I haven't recommended too many. I'm not too familiar, but I know, like you said, a lot of it's just fat and sugar with some protein added. It's not a good. I mean, would I rather you eat it than not eat it all? Yes,
Yep.
but it's a great. Would you? Is it a better option to have like a quick shot or a meal? A healthy meal. Do that first. But if you, I remember always hearing Verstegen, Mark talk about his kid's worst case. Get up, cold pizza, eat it. You got to have some sort of calories in the morning. He's not recommending that, but if that's the only option to eat some calories. He'd rather have, not exact quotes, but he'd rather have a couple slices of pizza and come and train than nothing. So I think that those bars are kind of your last option if you don't have anything.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That is, the problem is when we say that, kids are like, "Oh, perfect," and then they start eating pizza like, "Oh, I'll just have pizza, go get."
A whole pizza, yeah.
If you're not going to eat and then go to school and then work out right after school and all you had, eating something like that is better than nothing, 100%. But even some of the protein shakes, I got questions about some of the different shakes, like. Again, if convenience, they are convenient. I get it, right? And like, there's some good ones out there, but the majority that are at the gas stations and places where people grab them, even parents, like even myself, there's times where I'm like, oh, I'll grab this for them, and I get it. And then later on, I'm looking, wait a minute, there's 64 ingredients in this thing, and
Oh,
30 of them I can't even pronounce. How
the
healthy. Yeah, how healthy is that really for my 14-year-old son to be pounding, It's like, even Gatorade, you can, as a strength coach and then being with some of the high schools, you can get some pretty good discounts because, they want the athletes drinking Gatorade. But if you look at I hate to say it, but if you look at those ingredients, it's like, I'm not putting that in my kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like low quality proteins, um, tons of sugar, corn syrup, stuff like that. And, but again, if it's, hey, my kid's in a jam, I can't get to him. He's there for 2 or 3 hours. He needs worst case scenario, it's probably your best bet, right? But
Yeah, those RTD drinks every time convenience. I'm
yeah,
here. Each time
convenient.
I drink one, and my stomach's just messed up for. No, I'm not. I mean, again, kind of last option. Go ahead, but and they're
Yeah.
expensive as heck, man. One of those they're 350 or 2 for $5. I mean, you get a scoop, a good jug of protein. It's pennies on the dollar, per
Right.
serving.
Yeah, dude, have you bought one lately? They're like $5 a piece now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like,
Right.
but again, is that better than taking the hot dog from the gas station? Yeah, you'd hope so, right? Um, yeah, that's for sure. So, but there's a couple good ones out there, like what was it, Core Power, or what was that, Fairlife?
Oh,
Fairlife.
the lactose-free milk.
Yeah, those have they have higher amounts of protein in them just because of the way they're processed in the cows.
Yeah.
So that's and to be honest with you, a good old regular chocolate milk, not Hershey's chocolate milk or something, but like an organic chocolate milk is a great pre-workout because you got protein in there from the milk, the sugar that is in there. If it's an organic chocolate milk post-workout, you need that right away anyways, your recovery shake. So chocolate milk is a great option for post-workout or in a pinch. But yeah, so a lot of questions on protein. Hopefully that helps. Um, I'm a big fan. Post workout, always you got to have that. I know
Yes.
there's some studies they're saying now that golden window we grew up learning post workout. It's not as important as we used to think it was. I'm not buying that because there's still tons of studies that do show, hey, in my opinion, the quicker you can start the recovery process, the better. The quicker you can stop that muscle breakdown, get nutrients to your muscles. I just can't imagine how it's not more effective than waiting a couple hours. So that's something that I've read data saying that it's not as golden as we used to think it was, but I'm still big into that.
No, I think, and again, if you're waiting 2 hours after your lift, you're not getting as many meals and frequency that you need. So no, I wouldn't wait. I tell everyone immediately after. That's the last thing I say. Hey, stretch, get your protein, go get
Yeah,
home, go recover, right away.
yeah. I like telling I like seeing guys with shaker cups, man.
Yep.
I like when guys come in. I know they're serious when guys come in or girls come in. I mean, I got some killer girls in my studio as well, and they come in with their water bottle and their shaker cup, and as they're
Yep.
walking to their car, they're pounding that protein shake, and then they get home and have that normal meal, and it's just one of the things that they're always doing right on top of everything else, and it's not that one thing. But if they're doing that, they're doing a lot of things right. And it's just, you just see the results when people do everything right or as much as they can right.
Yep. Being prepared.
Yeah, always. Yeah. So that I love seeing that. You come into the gym or the school weight room and you got your water, you better have your water. And
Yep.
and then I see that shaker cup, I'm like, this guy's serious. This girl's
Yep.
serious. And that's important.
Yep.
All right. One of the other questions we got is bodybuilding lifting or lifting like a bodybuilder good for wrestlers? I think we're going to be the same
Yeah.
answer on this one, but I'll let you lead on this one.
Yeah. You know, quick answer, no. Uh, you know, it's not going to correlate to the athletic, wrestling much at all. I think high reps are okay, but if you're truly doing like bodybuilding stuff, I don't think there's much correlation at all. I have had some guys throughout the years that have lifted bodybuilding style, and they look like a Greek god, but the correlation to the mat didn't really transfer over much. Um, yeah, I would say no to that question. I don't think bodybuilding routines fits for almost any athletes unless you're in the sport of bodybuilding. If that's what they're asking is truly bodybuilding, I would say no. But
Yeah.
if it's a difference of the athlete not working out and just, I guess the quick answer is no, no. But if he's not going to work out at all, do something. But it is
Right.
not. There's
Yeah.
not going to be a transfer there. No.
Yeah. But training like a bodybuilder does not increase your performance as an athlete. It's just
Yep.
that's not what it's designed to do, right? It's not that bodybuilding training like a bodybuilder is bad. It's created to just for hypertrophy, right? To
Yep.
increase muscle size and aesthetics. Where training like an athlete is to increase performance on the field. Where
Yep.
bodybuilding, your game or your sport is your body, right?
Yep.
And the tools are your practice or your weight, right? Or the weights are your tools. Yeah, I think that's terrible. Now, do certain bodybuilding sets and reps and schemes here and there as an auxiliary
Yeah.
exercise or lift? I have tons of that, there's nothing like I remember learning from Joe DeFranco, like he lets the Friday before games, letting guys get a little pump in there, 4 or 5 sets of curls, a couple try push downs, some wrist rolls, maybe a little dumbbell shrugs and some band pull aparts, 20-minute set, get the blood flowing after they do a little bit of recovery and mobility, and then just bang out a few reps that increases blood flow, obviously, but guys like feeling that, and I'm cool with that as well, as long as everything else is already, all the boxes are already checked off.
Yeah.
But if there's times where you're trying to build the athletes up, I think there's small times for, like, we'll do a lot of hammer curls and lateral raises, and we'll use maybe reps and schemes for reps and sets, right? For a certain one exercise, because your muscle, especially post season, in my opinion, your muscle is your armor, right? So the quickest way to pack on armor and to get that hypertrophy is the bodybuilding style. So, if you do your squat, your split squats, you do your hip work mobility, everything's done. And okay, we're doing some hammer curls, 4 sets of 8 to 12 in as an auxiliary lift. I like that. And athletes like that, they get that pump, they feel good, getting, some lateral raises, 4 sets, 8 to 12 as well. I think that can be helpful for some athletes.
Yeah.
But as a whole design, I that's a big no, right? You need to train like an athlete to increase your athletic performance and prevent injury.
I got a lot of bodybuilders at my facility, and none of them do any hang cleans, power cleans. They'll squat, but they never do dynamic like speed squats, or they don't go real heavy. They're more slow and controlled, which that's not really what wrestling is, slow and controlled.
Right.
So, I do know the difference, but I just I think the systems are different from bodybuilding to wrestling, energy systems. So, you want to train explosive, and you still want to be strong for sure. But I agree. We do the same, kind of hit some reps at the end. We don't ever go above 12s, and then we'll do light linear progression as we go week to week, 12s, 10s, 8s. We always stop around 6 for the accessories. That's that, like you said, the hypertrophy kind of rep schemes. It's debatable at 6, but for me, 6 to 12s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see, and I talk shop with the bodybuilders. They're just not training like wrestlers, and wrestlers shouldn't train like them. When you're done with wrestling, go at it. Have
Yeah,
fun
absolutely.
with it. While you're trying to wrestle, it's not the best at all. So.
Not at all. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it works at all for any athlete, not just our wrestlers.
I can't think of one.
Like I remember our last show, we talked about how there's a lot of mistakes I did when I was young because we didn't have the internet and we were learning. Like I said, there's times I was ripping pages out of Flex magazine, and I was doing a leg workout that Flex Wheeler was doing. You know what I mean? I think I did 12 sets of squats, 20 sets of it, and like I couldn't walk for 3 days, but that didn't make me a better athlete. But hindsight, what I did right was I was consistent and I worked hard. Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes it wasn't always the best programming, but
I think that's the whole point of this conversation. Like, we didn't have stuff like this. We had the magazines or the old school meatheads in the grimy, cringy gyms that
yeah,
were giving you information. You
right.
didn't have all the knowledge like what we're doing now to help and kind of learn from our mistakes. I think that's a great thing what we're doing and providing.
Yeah, which is great, which is
Because
absolutely.
I did the same. We had I know Flex was one. Joe, what was it? Wider,
Yeah,
Weeder.
yeah.
What was
Muscle and
like
fitness.
all those?
Yeah.
we had all those, and there was a stack of them just scattered on the front little lounge area. And I'd
Yeah.
sit there before, after, and just look page after page, and
Right.
where you got a lot of the information, unless you knew someone to call off a landline with the kids probably don't know the little
Rotary
to the
phone.
wall. Yeah, you'd call someone from another state. And I didn't know anyone then. I was, high school. So
Yeah. Yeah. When you're 13, 14, 15, 16, you look in that magazine, these guys look like, you're just like, dude, I want to look like that. I'll be undefeatable. No one will be able to touch me. But those guys, they couldn't move. So that's what,
yeah,
you got to train properly. All right. One of the other big questions we got was, in a roundabout way, was, should wrestlers lift heavy weight? All right. And on this, it can be, they weren't specific, like in season or out of season. So I'm going to start off with, I would say this is an off season question. In my opinion, absolutely. The only way you can get more explosive is training properly. The muscle needs to be stronger. You need to be able to produce more force. You got to lift heavy weights. Now, you don't train like a power lifter or, because that's just like training like a bodybuilder, in a way. It's got its own pluses and minuses, right? You might get really strong, but you don't have a dynamic effort. You don't have anything correlating your new strength over to athletic movement patterns. All right. So you can't train like a power lifter. That's the best way to train to get super strong. But
yeah,
again, their sport is just moving that weight. That's it. And you got the most experience I know with that. Um, but yeah, you should be in a correct program. You should be lifting and peaking and pushing yourself and progressively getting stronger and stronger with obviously correct form, and obviously with the proper auxiliary lifts
yeah,
and all the training all around. Right, you're not just walking in there if you just go in there and, hey, I put my bench up 70 pounds, my squats up 80, my deadlifts up 90, but you can't jump or run faster or do
yeah.
anything, then you didn't become a better athlete. You just became stronger in the weight room. And in my opinion, if it doesn't carry over, it's useless. But yeah, so my opinion, you should be off season. You should be in a structured program that continually pushes you and progresses to get you stronger and stronger within the athletic programming.
Yeah, I won't say argue. I debate with a lot of the powerlifting coaches I know in my gym and around. Uh, you can't. It's two different sports. Powerlifting is just that, it's a strength sport. It's squat, bench, and deadlift, and you could do all those as wrestlers. That's fine, but if that's all you do and focus on just that time and attention, majority it's just a slow movement. I
Right.
mean, I remember times I'd squat, 6, 7, 8 seconds per single.
Yeah.
And that, I think there's a place and time for going heavy, but it's completely different. And I tell the athletes that if you want to come kind of watch our powerlifters lift and train, come check it out. It's
Yeah.
it's cool to watch and to get some technique ideas, but it's different training. And as far as like, should I lift heavy? I think it's all relative. What's heavy for you might not be heavy to the other person. So I think I like the linear progression again for beginners, slightly advanced. Building up to something heavy, I think is okay. I just don't think throw heavy weight on right away. Building up's okay, but still do your accessories, still do your explosive movements. You still got to be functional. We're doing right now, we're doing drags and carries. I have to send some videos. We're doing some really cool stuff. There's not a handle on a person. So from fireman's carries, forward, backwards, sides, to we're doing like a backwards sled drag with the actual person holding their hands.
Nice.
Some wheelbarrow. There's some cool stuff we're doing and you could tell the guys they're doing great in the weight room, but when there's other stuff, some of them struggle a little more. You're not lifting a dumbbell or barbell on the mat. You're wrestling with a person. So I
Yeah.
think it's important to do both. But yeah, I think it's okay to go heavy as long as you're smart. As long as you progress to a good weight, the proper way, under a good eye, a good coach, and doing it properly and safely. And spotters is huge too. We are testing our guys, the team, in 2 more weeks. We don't
Okay.
have at the high school. We don't have the safety straps and all that. So we're really working on safety, how to spot, and that's huge. I've seen some very nasty accidents. I've had a couple guys. One guy at my gym that's an advanced lifter. I came in at it was like 7 a.m. that day, and he was stuck under 3 plates,
Oof.
and he had the weights clipped and by himself. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Nah,
Yeah.
I think he would have got out of it. But again, lifting heavy is okay if safety's intact. Deadlift, you kind of drop the weight. Squats, uh, you got to be a little careful, man. If you know how to dump it, but metal plates, if you dump it, you're gonna ruin something. I know the weightlifters have a technique they do, but that's advanced. That's not like high
That's,
school.
yeah.
That's advanced stuff. And bench, man, I would never bench on your own. I think it's completely unsafe. Definitely not heavy. But even so, if you're doing eights and you're struggling the last few,
Yeah, you get
you know,
fatigued quick,
yeah,
fatigue real
you
quick.
got to be safe out there if you're lifting heavy.
Yeah, at our school, we have some really good racks. So I look over and I'm like, listen, no one, you're not starting with the bar until those spotter arms are proper height. So I always we try to put those spotter arms like that 1 inch below, maybe 2 inches below.
Yeah,
Once in a while you'll get a kid that should go maybe a half inch, deeper. But in the grand scheme of things, it's the safety first and allows them to make sure it's proper. And then, when there's confidence and safety, you're willing to push it, right? Like I've always been the guy who said, all right, if it's done properly, getting buried's a good thing, right?
yeah,
Because buried, you're trying, right?
yeah.
Within that now, when the guy goes on there, second set, it should be 8 reps, and he's a knucklehead and puts something stupid on and gets buried in 2. That's not right. So, but like when we're down in our 3s and your third set of 3, you get 1.5, maybe 2, and then you get buried. Like, you know what? That's where you should be, right? And if it's done proper, where they go down, boom, buried, they come up. It's almost like I've always seen it. I don't know if you've noticed where my guys, I've seen them get buried, and then it's a confidence because the fear of the unknown is gone now. Like the fear,
Oh yeah.
what happens when I can't get this, or if I go deep enough and I miss it? Well, lo and behold, those safety racks and those safety bar arms and the straps, they do their job. So like once they get buried, it's kind of like, oh, that's no big deal. This is all right. This is what it's about. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, they usually push through that. I think it's the confidence and the comfort, being comfortable with being in that deep in the hole, like they say, or where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, there's a gray area, especially in the squat, where when you get that weight up there, it gets a little iffy getting down, parallel, whatever else. Everyone gets a
Yep.
little freaked out. You got to have a lot of trust in the people on the sides. And
Yep.
again, we got those straps.
Yeah, those
I
are
was
not.
trying to be smart, Alec. We had them fabricated, and I was squatting a lot at that time. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Yo, man, I'm squatting so and so weight." And he's like, "Sir, they're prorated like 30,000 pounds each." I was like, "Okay, see you later, bro." So
Yeah.
no, these straps are the safety rack. That
Yep.
gray area, if they're there, just have trust, grind it out, strain, fight through it. Trust if you do, if you're doing a triple and you
Yep.
kind of grind it out and can't get it, trust you got help. That's the safety part. 100%. You never want to get anyone hurt. That's you can't do anything if you're on the sidelines or
Oh,
watching a match.
yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, lifting heavy properly, structured programming, all the auxiliary lifts. I'm big into with contrast. Like we'll do like a heavy dead, and then we do like banded pogos where
Yeah,
we
man.
we strap pogos, cross body pogos, and we're exploding, getting in that 8 to 12 reps of that fast off the ground, and it carries over really well. We've noticed, and or we'll do a heavy squat and then a real light fast sled push or some broad jumps down the track a little bit. That's where athletes, I'm seeing great results with the athletes with that.
Yeah, we like that contrast. I like that contrast too. That's nice. We
Yep.
do a lot of with the beginners, we'll do like a hex bar,
Yep.
1, 2, 3 reps, and go right to like a quick prowler push or some sort of broad jump,
Yep.
depth jump, something like that. It's a good pair, very good pair. Speed deadlifts against bands.
Yep.
We do singles, we'll do a single and then right to something else, box jump or something. And
Yeah.
10 or 15, 10 or 15 singles there. You're
Yep.
pretty good, man. Have a good day.
Yep. And you know what I see that as well as like, how we were just, you mentioned it, like going too heavy and, getting out of that athletic performance. But what that does is we're fatiguing them as a little bit as well. Right. So it's not like a max lift. And then 8 minutes later, they got another set of they're not doing doubles and with that long power lift and break. Right. So we're doing a heavy lift, then we're doing something dynamic, and then a couple auxiliaries, and they're back in there. And it's so their whole body's taxed a little bit. So where if they're training a different way, they might actually be stronger in the deadlift, but it's carrying them over to their sport. So
I get a test. Powerlifting rest periods are a lot different than wrestling rest
yeah,
periods. I mean,
yeah,
there'd be times I'd be like, time to go. He's like, nope. My buddy's like, nope, sit down. You got 5 more minutes. I'm like, dude, I've already been waiting 5 minutes.
yeah,
Powerlifting needs the strength sport. You
yeah.
might squat and you might not be up for 15 more minutes if the flight's big,
Yeah,
which is,
wow.
yeah, it's a lot of time, man.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
That's a big for a wrestling match if you get knocked down to the blood rounds or the dirty road and constallations. You
Yeah.
get a couple reps. You go from weight in, like when's your next match? Probably an hour or two, right up, like every 20 minutes. But
Get ready.
yeah, absolutely. So that's really good. So we went over how much protein we recommend or we see athletes taking and having success with. We touched based on getting those whole food sources, I love grass-fed whey or a natural whey protein. Just a sheer convenience and especially in season for wrestlers. I think we talked last time about how they have to be so strict in season to get the calories they need and the proper ones that just helps. It makes it easier because it's tough, especially for teenagers and high schoolers. They got to cut up, 7 ounces of chicken breasts and bring them in a Ziploc baggie. That's a lot more time.
No, it's
So, and then training like a bodybuilder, we're both on the same page there. That's a different sport, and it's not conducive to making you a better athlete. Never mind a better wrestler. So,
yeah.
and lifting heavy. I'm a big fan of lifting heavy properly within a structured program, and
Yeah.
those are the things that stand out the most. A couple of the questions that were top. Let me see here because we're getting a lot of feedback, and we appreciate that. Everybody, it makes it a lot easier the more questions we have that we can pick from. Let's see here. Hydration. What do you recommend? What are your favorite recommendations for hydration? If you want to knock, I got a couple things we use for our fighters and wrestlers as well, but
Yeah, so me, I'm unique, as you know my story, and I was on 80 milligrams of fluorescimine LASIK per
yeah.
day. So
Oh,
that's a lot. I mean, I was going to the bathroom and I was cramping. I was still training, but I
yeah,
was cramping up terrible. So for me, that Himalayan salt, I
yeah,
mean, my wife thinks I'm nuts. I would just dry scoop, slam
yeah,
some water, and that really helped. Now for me and what I recommend, I don't know if it's cost efficient, but something like I get the Walgreens brand, those liquid IV packs.
yeah,
So just electrolytes, and you're not getting all the crap like we talked about in Gatorade and all that. But that really helps. I was, oh, do the banana. That's okay. You'd have to eat like 40 bananas to get what you're looking for.
yeah.
So the salt, just a little bit of salt, or I think the hydration packs is what I recommend for wrestlers. Just the little packs, and if it cost efficient, is better, like a not no name brand like a Walgreens. They're usually a little cheaper, but
I checked the
water.
ingredients.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see, drink your, man,
Yeah.
Sam's Club, again, I don't know if you have those, they got 40 bottles for like 350.
Yeah.
Or get it cool. I drink water all day, just to stay hydrated. Very important. So yeah, but there you go.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Drinking water. I mean, most of the schools now have the automatic bottle fillers.
Perfect.
Just bring one of those stainless steel water bottles, fill that thing up a couple times. I'm a huge fan of Element, LMNT.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work with them, with our fighters, our wrestlers. I'll have to get them to send you some. It's a phenomenal product.
The lead FTS, that's for the podcast. That's one of the main sponsors of Dave's
Is it
podcast.
really? Yeah,
Yeah.
they sponsored our World Series lacrosse team that I was training. They did a couple of wrestling tournaments, so maybe we can get them to sponsor us as well here.
Do you know
Uh,
Schmidtley with Thirst? He's Terre Haute, Indiana. He's like, I think it was a 123 squatted over six. He's a
wow.
great coach in Indiana. I'll have to connect you, but he had these aluminum cans he just showed me. I don't know what's in them, but he said they're the best he's ever tried from that company. Have
Yep,
you seen them yet?
yeah, we got a couple cases last week. They sent them out. They're unbelievable. They're
Yeah.
unbelievable. Now for athlete, they got 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and I think 60 milligrams of magnesium. Hang on, I got one right here. Let me check
Yeah,
this.
man. I've been meaning to try one. I haven't. I had one of my power lifters. His name's Spencer. He gave me. I was cramping so bad. I did some glute ham raises. He gave me two of those packs, and I
Yeah,
dry scooped it.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I was right. 1,000 milligrams, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium. Um, there's no other artificial stuff in there. There's no sugar. It's gluten free. I got great results with those. Um,
yeah.
Great results. The kids love them. There's a few flavors they got that I don't understand. They got like chili habanero and stuff like that, but I just stay away from those. The citrus, watermelon, raspberry, unbelievable. And they did, like your buddy said, they came out with these cans and we just got them. They're more expensive, but they're convenient. They're convenient as
Yeah.
heck, I'll tell you that. But they come in little packets, and you just like my guys all have like 4 or 5 in their wrestling bag, and you just pour it in a water bottle, pound it, and it's huge. Like that's something when we talk about dropping weight or right after your weigh-ins, you got to get those electrolytes and that hydration in you. I'm a firm believer you got to do that first before you bring in solid foods. Um, you get off that scale, you should be pounding. My guys, they pound an element right away. Boom,
Yeah.
done. They wait about 5-10 minutes, then they start getting their quick carbs and their other carbs in, and go from there and get ready for their match. So that, yeah, I can't say enough about element. There's other ways too. There's Gatorade's that's the worst case scenario in my opinion. There's a lot of bad stuff in that Gatorade, but it is what it is. It's so popular. It's so convenient. It's so easy. Everyone buys them. Um, the uh, the other way, the old meathead lemonade. I learned this from Joe DeFranco as well a long time ago. A quarter teaspoon of Himalayan salt, squeeze a whole lime, and then we started adding amino acids in it as well. And you shake that in about 20 to 25 ounces of water. And I mean, you're hydrated. It's good. And that quarter teaspoon, I think it's like 440 milligrams of sodium, right
Wow.
around there. Don't hold me to that number, but with a Himalayan salt, and Himalayan salt's got like 80 minerals and trace minerals in it, so it's good for your body. So that's a cheaper way, right? And like there's just water and go from there. There's a million ideas on there, but yeah, hydration is key. Sodium is important. Sodium, and now stuff's coming out consistently where sodium is nowhere near the devil that it was brought out to be.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think if you're in the weight room too, if you're dehydrated, what's going to happen if you pull something, tear something, you're out even longer. So I think it's worth that investment, whether it's one of those hydration packs, the LMT, or the drinks. I think
Beer, yeah,
it's
or
yeah,
drinks.
it's well worth it. I mean, you're investing in your body just like anything else, And you do not want to be dehydrated and pull something. It's happened to me a few times. Not a good thing. You're out for a while.
Yeah, but a lot of, I forget the ratio, but the pulls are the biggest risk factor is dehydration. All right. And then, not conditioned, obviously. And, then depending on what you're doing, but that's one of the things you can check off to help injury prevention, right? You can't be, no one's injury proof, right? No matter what, there's no injury. No matter what you train, it's still, you're still at a risk, right? But if you can check off little boxes like training properly, fueling properly, and being hydrated, no matter how sweaty, no matter how bad the weather is or how much you're sweating, you can be hydrated properly. You got to be smart. So that's that, man. Well, this is another good one. As we get better and better at this, hopefully we'll get some more people on here. Keep sending your questions. I did have a few football questions messaged in, so maybe next show, maybe we'll switch gears because summer training's coming up for football. That off-season training, that's the biggest, those 8 to 12 weeks right before camp, or that's where you make your strides. So maybe that's something you and I can discuss, and if you're cool with it, if we get questions. I
got a great group of football guys right now, and I could kind of tag and hashtag football in there too, and get some questions on the problem.
Yeah. So sounds good, man. Always great talking with you.
You too, man.
And we'll go from there, man. We'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys. See you, bud. Later.